Success Secret Part 6. Surround yourself with the right people. Introduction. Welcome back to Psychology of Success. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share powerful lessons on success, mindset, psychology, discipline, and personal growth to help you become the strongest version of yourself. If you're serious about success, hit the subscribe button and join our growing community. Now let's begin. There is a famous saying, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." At first, this may sound like an exaggeration. But the longer you study successful people, the more you realize how true it is. The people around you influence your thoughts. They influence your habits. They influence your beliefs. And ultimately, they influence your future. Many people focus entirely on improving themselves while ignoring the environment around them. But environment matters. Because no matter how strong you are, the people around you will either pull you upward or drag you downward. Today, you'll discover why surrounding yourself with the right people is one of the greatest success secrets of all time. Point 1. The Eagles and the Chickens. There is an old story about an eagle egg that somehow ended up in a chicken farm. The egg hatched among chickens. The young eagle grew up watching chickens. The chickens scratched the ground. The chickens stayed close to the earth. The chickens never flew high. Because the eagle was surrounded by chickens, it began believing it was one of them. Years passed. The eagle lived like a chicken, thought like a chicken, behaved like a chicken. Then one day it looked up and saw a magnificent eagle soaring through the sky. The eagle asked, "What is that beautiful bird?" The chickens replied, "That's an eagle. But don't think about it. You'll never be like that." So the eagle returned to scratching in the dirt and lived its entire life below its potential. The lesson is powerful. Many people are living below their potential because they are surrounded by people who have accepted average lives. Be careful who influences your thinking. Point 2. The Crab Bucket Story. There is another famous story. Imagine a bucket full of crabs. If one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down. As a result, none of them escape. This is exactly what happens in many people's lives. The moment they begin improving themselves, certain people become uncomfortable. When they start a business, people laugh. When they pursue goals, people criticize. When they become disciplined, people mock them. Not because success is wrong, but because your growth reminds them of their own lack of action. Successful people understand this. They do not allow negativity to stop them. Sometimes growth requires leaving the crab bucket. Not because you think you're better than others, but because your future matters. Point 3. The Man Who Changed His Friends. A young man dreamed of becoming successful. He worked hard. He read books. He set goals. Yet year after year, nothing changed. One day, a mentor asked him a simple question. "Who do you spend the most time with?" The young man named 5 close friends. The mentor noticed something. Every one of those friends complained constantly. None had goals. None were interested in growth. None were working toward a better future. The mentor then gave him advice. "If you want a different life, spend time with people who are living differently." The young man followed the advice. He joined communities of ambitious people. He attended seminars. He found mentors. He surrounded himself with growth-minded individuals. Within a few years, his life changed dramatically. His income increased. His confidence improved. His mindset transformed. Nothing magical happened. His environment changed. And his environment changed him. Point 4. The Blacksmith's Fire. Imagine a blacksmith heating a piece of iron. Place the iron in fire long enough, and it becomes hot. Remove it from the fire, and it cools. Human beings are similar. We absorb the attitudes of those around us. Spend time around negative people, and negativity becomes normal. Spend time around disciplined people, and discipline becomes normal. Spend time around successful people, and success becomes believable. Environment shapes behavior. That is why successful people protect their environment carefully. Point 5. The Bamboo Forest Lesson. A bamboo tree rarely grows alone. Bamboo forests grow together. Their root systems connect beneath the ground. This allows them to support one another during storms. The lesson is simple. Success becomes easier when you are surrounded by people moving in the same direction. Everyone needs encouragement. Everyone needs accountability. Everyone needs support. The strongest people are not always those who work alone. Often, they are those who build strong networks. The right people can inspire you when motivation disappears. They can encourage you when challenges arise. They can remind you of your goals when you forget. Never underestimate the power of positive relationships. Transition to Part 2 of Success Secret Number 6. In the next section, we'll explore the lion and the sheep story. How mentors accelerate success. The danger of negative influences. Why successful people guard their circle. The story of Warren Buffett's partner. How to build a success network from scratch. The most important relationship lesson of all. And remember, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You often rise to the level of the people around you. Point 6. The lion and the sheep. There is an old lesson that has been passed down for generations. A lion raised among sheep may begin behaving like a sheep. It may eat when they eat, move when they move, hide when they hide. But deep inside, it remains a lion. One day, another lion appears. The young lion sees something different. Strength, confidence, courage, power. For the first time, it realizes what it is capable of becoming. The lesson is simple. Many people have forgotten their potential because they are surrounded by people who do not challenge them to grow. The right people remind you of what is possible. They help you see strengths you cannot yet see in yourself. Sometimes one conversation can change your entire future. Sometimes one mentor can change your entire life. Never underestimate the power of being around people who inspire greatness. Point 7. The wooden log story. Imagine a fire burning brightly in the night. Now imagine removing one burning log and placing it by itself. At first, it remains hot. But slowly the flame weakens. Eventually it grows cold. Now place that same log back into the fire. Almost immediately it begins burning again. Human beings are very similar. When you isolate yourself from positive influences, your motivation often fades. Your goals become harder to maintain. Your discipline weakens. But when you spend time with focused, ambitious, and encouraging people, your energy increases. You begin thinking bigger. You begin acting differently. You begin believing more is possible. The people around you either fuel your fire or extinguish it. Choose wisely. Point 8. The mentor who saved 10 years. A young entrepreneur once approached a successful business owner and asked, "What's the fastest way to achieve success?" The older man smiled and replied, "Find someone who has already walked the path." The young entrepreneur followed the advice. Instead of learning every lesson through trial and error, he found mentors. He listened carefully. He asked questions. He studied their mistakes. He applied their wisdom. Years later, he realized something remarkable. The mentor had saved him years of frustration, years of mistakes, years of unnecessary setbacks. One good mentor can shorten your learning curve dramatically. This is why successful people seek guidance. They understand that wisdom is often borrowed before it is earned. You do not have to figure everything out alone. Learn from people who have already achieved what you hope to achieve. Point 9. The gardener's lesson. Imagine a gardener planting beautiful flowers. The gardener waters them, protects them, cares for them. But something else begins growing. Weeds. At first, the weeds seem harmless. Small. Unimportant. Easy to ignore. But over time, they spread. They steal nutrients. They block sunlight. They limit growth. Eventually, the gardener must make a decision. Remove the weeds or lose the flowers. Relationships can work the same way. Not every influence in your life is healthy. Some people constantly spread negativity. Some encourage bad habits. Some discourage growth. Some criticize every dream. If you allow those influences to dominate your environment, they can slowly limit your potential. Successful people understand the importance of protecting their mental garden. They carefully choose what influences they allow into their lives. Point 10. The 3 friends. There is an old lesson that says every person should have 3 types of friends. The first friend is someone ahead of you. Someone you can learn from. Someone whose experience can guide you. The second friend is someone beside you. Someone growing alongside you. Someone who understands your challenges because they are walking a similar path. The third friend is someone behind you. Someone you can encourage. Someone you can help. Someone who benefits from your experience. This creates a powerful cycle of growth. You learn from those ahead. You grow with those beside. You serve those behind. And through this process, everyone becomes stronger. Successful people understand that relationships are not only about receiving. They are also about contributing. The more value you bring to others, the more valuable your network becomes. The most important relationship lesson of all. After all these stories, there is one final lesson. The most important person you spend time with is yourself. Think about it. You hear your own thoughts every day. You listen to your own inner voice constantly. You carry your beliefs everywhere you go. If your self-talk is negative, discouraging, and limiting, it becomes difficult to succeed. But if your inner voice is encouraging, disciplined, and growth-oriented, it becomes easier to move forward. Surrounding yourself with the right people begins by becoming the right person. Become someone who inspires growth. Become someone who encourages others. Become someone who takes responsibility. Become someone who pursues excellence. Because the quality of your relationships often reflects the quality of your character. As we conclude Success Secret Part 6, remember these powerful lessons. The people around you shape your future. Environment influences behavior. Mentors accelerate growth. Negative influences slow progress. Positive relationships create opportunities. Success is rarely achieved alone. The right people can challenge you, support you, encourage you, and help you become the person you were meant to be. Take a moment today and ask yourself, who am I becoming because of the people around me? And perhaps even more importantly, who are the people around me helping me become? Your answer may reveal the direction of your future. If you found value in this lesson, subscribe to Psychology of Success and turn on notifications. Every week, we share powerful lessons on success, mindset, discipline, psychology, and personal growth. Like this video. Share it with someone who inspires you. And comment below. Who is one person that has had a positive impact on your life? Your story might encourage someone else. Signature closing. Remember, you become stronger when you surround yourself with strength. You become wiser when you learn from wisdom. You become more successful when you spend time with people who inspire growth. Point 11. The Eagle's Circle. One day, a young eagle asked an older eagle, "Why do you spend so much time flying with strong eagles?" The older eagle replied, "Because eagles learn to soar by flying with eagles." The young eagle thought about this. Then he asked, "What happens if an eagle spends all its time with birds that never leave the ground?" The older eagle smiled. "Eventually, it forgets how high it can fly." This lesson applies to every area of life. If you spend most of your time around people who complain, negativity begins to feel normal. If you spend most of your time around people who make excuses, excuses begin to feel reasonable. But if you spend time around people who pursue excellence, growth begins to feel natural. Your standards are often shaped by the people closest to you. Successful people understand this. That is why they intentionally place themselves in environments where growth is expected. Because expectations become habits. And habits become destiny. Point 12. The story of the young musician. There was once a young musician who dreamed of becoming great. He practiced every day. He studied music constantly. Yet he felt stuck. One day he met a world-class musician. The young man was nervous. He expected secrets. Special techniques. hidden formulas. Instead, the experienced musician gave him simple advice. Spend more time around people who are better than you. The young man followed the advice. He joined groups of skilled musicians. At first he felt intimidated. Everyone seemed more talented. Everyone seemed more experienced. But over time something incredible happened. His standards rose. His skills improved. His confidence grew. Why? Because excellence is contagious. The people around you often determine the level you believe is possible. Point 13. The boat and the anchor. Imagine rowing a boat across a lake. You row with all your strength. Hour after hour. Day after day. But the boat barely moves. Eventually you discover the problem. An anchor is dragging along the bottom. No matter how hard you row, the anchor limits your progress. Many people experience this in life. They work hard. They set goals. They dream big. But certain relationships keep pulling them backward. Negative influences. Constant criticism. Endless drama. Discouragement. The problem is not always a lack of effort. Sometimes the problem is the anchor. Success often requires identifying what is holding you back and having the courage to let it go. Point 14. The king's advisors. Long ago, a king ruled a prosperous kingdom. Every important decision he made was influenced by the advisors around him. Some advisors were wise. Some were foolish. Over time, the king noticed a pattern. Whenever he listened to wise advisors, the kingdom prospered. Whenever he listened to foolish advisors, problems followed. Eventually he learned a valuable lesson. The quality of your decisions often depends on the quality of the voices you allow into your life. Today, your advisors may not sit in a royal palace. They may be friends, podcasts, books, mentors, videos, communities. The question remains the same. Who is influencing your thinking? Because your future is often shaped by the voices you listen to most. Point 15. The marathon runners. A group of runners entered a marathon. Some trained with people who constantly complained. Every practice session was filled with negativity. Every challenge became an excuse. Every obstacle became a reason to quit. Another group trained differently. They encouraged each other. They pushed each other. They celebrated progress. They focused on solutions. Months later, the difference was obvious. One group became stronger. The other remained stuck. The lesson is simple. The people around you can either multiply your motivation or drain it. That is why successful people are selective about their environment. Not because they dislike others, but because they understand the power of influence. Point 16. The library of great minds. Many people say, I don't know successful people. But here's something important. You can still surround yourself with successful minds. Every book is a conversation. Every biography is mentorship. Every lesson from a great thinker becomes part of your environment. When you read the stories of successful people, you gain access to decades of wisdom. You learn from their mistakes. You learn from their experiences. You learn from their victories. Never underestimate the power of books. A single book can change the direction of a life. A single idea can create a breakthrough. If you cannot find great people around you, begin by filling your mind with great ideas. Point 17. The Garden of Possibility. Imagine two gardens. One receives care, attention, and nourishment. The other is neglected. Years later, the difference is dramatic. The same principle applies to relationships. The strongest relationships do not happen by accident. They require investment, encouragement, trust, support. Successful people build networks intentionally. They help others. They provide value. They create genuine connections. And over time, those relationships become one of their greatest assets. Point 18. The Bridge Builder. A traveler once spent years building bridges. People asked him why. He replied, because every bridge creates a new opportunity. Relationships are bridges. Every positive connection expands your world. It introduces new ideas, new opportunities, new perspectives, new possibilities. Never burn bridges unnecessarily. The people you meet today may play an important role in your future tomorrow. Success Secret Part 6, continued. The story of the boy who changed his future. There was once a young boy who grew up in a neighborhood where very few people believed in big dreams. Every day he heard the same words. Be realistic. People like us don't become successful. Dreaming is a waste of time. Just accept your situation. At first, he believed them. After all, these were the voices he heard every day. These were the people around him. These were the people he trusted. As the years passed, the boy stopped dreaming. He stopped believing. He stopped imagining a better future. Then one day, something unexpected happened. A teacher noticed him sitting quietly at the back of a classroom. The teacher saw potential in him. Potential that the boy could not yet see in himself. One afternoon, the teacher asked him a question. What do you want to become? The boy laughed. No one had ever asked him that before. He shrugged and replied, It doesn't matter. The teacher looked him in the eyes and said something he would never forget. It matters because your future begins with what you believe is possible. Those words stayed with him. For the first time, someone believed in him. For the first time, someone challenged the limits he had accepted. The teacher began encouraging him, recommending books, sharing advice, teaching him new ways to think. Slowly, the boy's mindset began to change. Then his habits changed. Then his confidence changed. Then his future changed. Years later, the boy became successful. When people asked what changed his life, he did not mention money. He did not mention luck. He did not mention talent. He spoke about one person, one teacher, one positive influence, one voice that refused to let him settle for less than his potential. Never underestimate the power of one encouraging person. Sometimes a single relationship can change the direction of an entire life. The Old Man and the Two Friends. There was once an old man who lived in a small village. As he approached the final years of his life, people often came to him for wisdom. One day a young man asked him, What is the secret to success? The old man smiled. Instead of answering directly, he told a story. When I was young, I had two close friends. The first friend always complained. He complained about the weather. He complained about opportunities. He complained about successful people. He blamed everyone for his problems. The second friend was different. He looked for solutions. He learned from mistakes. He believed challenges could be overcome. He focused on growth. The old man paused. Then he continued. I spent years listening to both of them. Eventually I noticed something. The first friend remained exactly where he started. The second friend continued growing. His life improved every year. The young man asked, What happened next? The old man smiled. I became very careful about which voice I listened to most. The lesson is powerful. Every day, people influence your thinking. Some push you toward growth. Others pull you toward excuses. Some encourage action. Others encourage fear. The future often belongs to those who choose their influences wise. The story of the young athlete. There was once a young athlete with extraordinary talent. Coaches praised him. Teachers admired him. Friends expected him to become successful. Yet something strange happened. His progress stopped. Year after year, he remained average. One day a coach decided to investigate. The coach watched carefully. Then he noticed the problem. The athlete spent most of his time around people who had no ambition. Whenever he talked about goals, they laughed. Whenever he discussed improvement, they mocked him. Whenever he trained hard, they called him obsessed. Over time, their attitudes became his attitudes. Their limitations became his limitations. The coach pulled him aside. He said, If you spend your life around people who are comfortable being average, eventually average will become comfortable for you. Those words hit him hard. The young athlete began making changes. He joined stronger teams, found disciplined training partners, started spending time with people who shared his goals. The transformation was remarkable. His performance improved. His confidence grew. His mindset changed. Years later, he became a champion. Not because his talent changed, but because his environment changed. Sometimes success begins with changing who you spend time with. The man who carried everyone. There was once a man who spent his entire life trying to please everyone. Whenever someone needed help, he said yes. Whenever someone asked for his time, he gave it. Whenever someone demanded his energy, he surrendered it. At first, people praised him. They called him kind, generous, selfless. But something slowly began happening. His dreams started disappearing. His goals remained unfinished. His potential remained unexplored. One day he met an elderly traveler. The traveler listened carefully to his story. Then he asked a simple question. If you spend your entire life carrying everyone else, who will carry your future? The man had no answer. For years he had protected everyone else's priorities while neglecting his own. That conversation changed his life. He learned an important lesson. Helping others is important. But you must not sacrifice your entire future in the process. The right people will support your growth. They will not demand that you abandon it. Healthy relationships create strength. Unhealthy relationships create exhaustion. Learn the difference. The final emotional lesson. As we approach the end of this success secret, I want you to imagine something. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. Picture the person you hope to become. The confidence, the success, the wisdom, the growth. Now ask yourself, who is helping me become that person? And just as importantly, who is preventing me from becoming that person? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary. Because your future is being shaped right now. By conversations. By influences. By relationships. By the people who surround you every day. Choose wisely. Because the right people can inspire greatness. They can encourage courage. They can strengthen your discipline. They can remind you of your potential when you've forgotten it. And sometimes, they can change your life forever. Remember, you don't become successful alone. But you do choose who joins you on the journey. Choose people who challenge you. Choose people who inspire you. Choose people who believe in growth. Choose people who help you become the best version of yourself. And one day, you'll look back and realize that one of the greatest success secrets was never just about what you knew. It was about who walked beside you. Success Secret Part 6, continued. The story of the man who sat in the back row. There was once a young man who attended a success seminar. He almost didn't go. Part of him believed it would be a waste of time. Another part of him was curious. So he bought the cheapest ticket he could find and sat in the very last row. As he looked around the room, he noticed something interesting. The people there were different from the people he usually spent time with. They talked about goals. They talked about ideas. They talked about books they were reading. They discussed business, discipline, growth, and opportunity. At first, he felt uncomfortable. He felt out of place. He wondered if he belonged there. During a break, he overheard a conversation between two strangers. One was talking about a business he wanted to start. The other was discussing lessons he had learned from failure. The young man listened carefully. For the first time in years, he was surrounded by people who spoke about possibilities instead of problems. He returned the next day. Then he attended another event. Then another. Slowly, his thinking began to change. The things that once seemed impossible now seemed achievable. The goals that once seemed unrealistic now seemed attainable. Years later, he reflected on what had happened. The seminar did not magically make him successful. The speakers did not hand him success. What changed his life was exposure. He entered a new environment. He surrounded himself with people who thought differently. And eventually, their mindset influenced his own. Sometimes the first step toward a new life is entering a new room. The story of the storm and the trees. In a forest there stood two trees. One tree stood completely alone. The other grew among many strong trees. Then one year, a powerful storm arrived. The winds were stronger than anything the forest had seen in decades. The lone tree faced the storm by itself. With no support around it, it struggled against every gust of wind. Meanwhile, the trees growing together supported one another. Their roots were connected beneath the ground. Their branches absorbed the force of the wind together. When the storm finally ended, the lone tree had fallen. But many of the connected trees remained standing. Life often works the same way. Everyone experiences storms. Everyone faces difficulties. Everyone encounters moments of uncertainty. The question is, who is standing beside you when the storm arrives? The right people do not remove challenges from your life, but they help you endure them. Their encouragement gives you strength. Their wisdom provides guidance. Their support helps you continue when quitting seems easier. Never underestimate the power of a strong support system. The story of the dream killer. A young woman dreamed of becoming an author. She loved writing. She filled notebooks with ideas. She spent hours creating stories. One evening, she shared her dream with someone she trusted. Instead of encouragement, she received criticism. Writing isn't a real career. Nobody will read your work. You should focus on something practical. The comments hurt. Over time, she shared her dream with other people. Many responded the same way. Slowly, she stopped writing. Years passed. The dream faded. Then one day she attended a local writing group. For the first time, she met people who loved writing. People who encouraged creativity. People who believed improvement was possible. People who supported one another. Their influence reignited something inside her. She started writing again. 1 page became 10 pages. 10 pages became a manuscript. Eventually, she published her first book. The lesson is powerful. Some people water your dreams. Others pull them out by the roots. Learn to recognize the difference. And protect your dreams accordingly. The lesson of the mirror. Have you ever noticed that people often become similar to those they spend the most time with? Attitudes spread. Habits spread. Beliefs spread. Confidence spreads. Negativity spreads. Success leaves clues. But so does failure. Imagine spending 10 years around people who constantly complain. How would that affect your mindset? Now imagine spending 10 years around people who focus on solutions. How would that affect your future? Your environment acts like a mirror. Over time, it reflects itself in your behavior. This is why successful people pay close attention to their circle. They understand that influence is often invisible. You may not notice it today. You may not notice it tomorrow. But over months and years, influence becomes destiny. The bridge to your future. Think about every successful person you admire. At some point, someone helped them. A mentor. A teacher. A coach. A friend. A parent. A business partner. Very few people achieve greatness entirely alone. Success is often built through relationships. The right relationship can introduce you to a new opportunity. The right relationship can teach you a valuable lesson. The right relationship can help you see possibilities you never noticed before. That is why building meaningful relationships is not just a social skill. It is a success skill. Treat people with respect. Listen carefully. Offer value. Be reliable. Be trustworthy. Because every meaningful relationship becomes a bridge. And sometimes that bridge leads to opportunities you cannot yet imagine. The final challenge. Before this video ends, I want to challenge you. Take a piece of paper. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Then ask yourself 3 questions. Do these people inspire growth? Do these people encourage my goals? Do these people help me become a better version of myself? If the answer is yes, be grateful. Invest in those relationships. Protect them. Strengthen them. If the answer is no, it may be time to make some changes. That does not mean abandoning people. It means becoming intentional about your environment. Spend more time with people who inspire you. Learn from people who challenge you. Seek out people who are growing. And become the kind of person who helps others grow as well. Because one of the most important decisions you will ever make is deciding who gets access to your mind, your time, and your future. The people around you are not just part of your life. They are helping shape the person you will become. Choose wisely. Choose growth. Choose excellence. Choose relationships that move you closer to your purpose. And remember, you don't rise alone. You rise with the people you choose to walk beside. Thank you for watching Psychology of Success. If this video brought you value, subscribe, like, and share it with someone who is committed to growth. Remember, success is not something you find, it's something you build, one decision at a time. Because the future belongs to those who take action today. Master your mind. Transform your life. I'll see you in the next lesson.